Hey everyone, it's Kathy. The video that you're getting ready to see is going to start like it's in the middle. It's not, it's at the very beginning when I'm getting ready to measure out my ingredients. And we are going to be making homemade loaf bread or sandwich bread. So I wanted to come on and give a little bit of an introduction. I thought I had the intro because I did record it, but somehow it must have not recorded when I came in here to my computer to upload this. It wasn't there. So to not have to go back into the kitchen and pretend like I was making bread again, I just thought I'd come to you right here and let you know that what you're about to see is me making loaf bread, and it's so much fun, it's so rewarding, and your house is going to smell wonderful. Plus you're giving your family something that's not full of preservatives and all of the things that we get from the stuff that's manufactured in factories. So here we go. Hang on and enjoy the video. Get a much more accurate measurement. So let me grab my batter bowl. Thought I had everything out, and of course I didn't. So here's my glass batter bowl, and I'm going to measure my flour out in here. So let me turn you down. All right, that looks really good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my sifter and I'm going to measure what looks to be 4 cups of flour. So I'm just going to go in because I'm going to remeasure this after I sift it, and I'm going to put 1, 2, I think I can get 3 cups in here, and we'll need to add 1 more, but I'm going to go ahead and sift this out. You want your flour to be aerated really well. And you can see there was no lumps in there, but I still like to sift it. And then we need 1 more cup. And what we're going to do now is we are building our sponge. So this will be like our rising, and this will take about 20 or 30 minutes. No biggie. All right. So now that we have that sifted, put my sifter back over here. Now I want to measure from this. Close that up and bring my my KitchenAid mixing bowl over. So we're going to need 3 cups of water, and I have my water here. I want to make sure that it is the temperature that I need it, so I've got my trusty little thermometer, and I'm going to put that in, and it says it's 105.4, which is perfect. You want it between 103 and 110. So I'm going to pour my water into my bowl, and then I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of active yeast. Now I buy my yeast in bulk, and I store it in these mason jars, and I keep it in the freezer. It makes your yeast last much longer. So there's 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons. Oh, I can smell the yeast already. And I'm going to get some cooking spray to spray my my half cup before I put the honey in it. That helps the honey release, and I won't have as much scraping to try to get all that honey out of the cup. So just a little bit of cooking spray. I think this is Pam Original. So I'm just going to take it over the sink, and I'm going to spray that cup like this. Got it nice and covered. So I'm gonna sit this down here, and I'm gonna squeeze my honey into my cup, and it's a half a cup. I will have the written recipe with all the instructions on my blog, and you can go there and actually print that out, and hopefully you will be making, I'll tell you what, let's take this top off and see if we can fill this up a little bit faster. And you can use a combination of honey and sugar. I think I will finish it off with sugar because I'm almost out of honey. And it works either way. No, Bella. Okay, let me let my dog out. Sorry about that, y'all. She was here at the door and she was really needing to go. And you know, when you got a little one, you have to let them go when they need to go. I'm going to need to wipe that off because honey's everywhere. Now I'm going to pour this honey into my bowl. Just like that. And that honey, I'm going to show you how it releases so well. But you can see the honey has left just about the entire, I'm going to use my finger. My hands are clean. So I'm going to use my finger just to scrape out the rest of that honey. I'll slide this in the sink and let me rinse my fingers. Now I'm going to get a spatula or I'm going to use my Dutch dough mixer, and I'm just going to stir that up so that yeast and the water and the honey gets all dissolved. Then I'm going to add 4 cups of flour to this and mix it. So let's level the flour off again. It's really cold outside this morning. It's like in the 20s here in North Carolina. There's 1. 2. 3. And there's 4. Let me see if she's back at the door. I may have to run to the front door and let her in. She's bad about doing that. But I want to go ahead and get this mixed up. And you just want to stir this to combine it. And it makes a very wet dough. And that's what you want. What we're doing here is what they call making your sponge. So this is going to activate and it's going to rise really fast. And you're going to have a great piece of dough to work with when you come back, and you're going to be adding your butter, your salt, and more flour. So, and then we will put it on the stand mixer and we'll let it do the kneading for us for about 5 or 6 minutes. We'll knead it with the mixer. But I've gotten where I don't hardly use any store-bought bread anymore because I enjoy making my own, and it's so easy and it's so good. So I'm just gonna, that looks like that's really good and mixed. I'm gonna scrape the bottom, make sure I got it all off the bottom. Okay, I think that is good. So I'm gonna rinse my dough hook. We're gonna cover this with just a tea towel. You can do it with plastic wrap. You know what? Maybe I'll do it with plastic wrap. The last time I did this, I did it with a tea towel and it stuck to my tea towel because it will rise really fast and very high. So we'll just take a little piece of plastic and lay over it, and we'll be right back. And when we get back, we will see if I can bring you back up. There we go. When we get back, we will have, I don't know what is wrong with my camera, but it does not want to stay like it's supposed to. But anyway, we will be back and we'll get everything together, and I'll show you what this dough has done. Give it about 25-30 minutes. And it's almost to the top of the bowl, which is what I knew would happen. So that was about probably about 23 minutes of rising. And this is our sponge. So now we're going to mash our sponge down. This is always fun. It's very, very spongy, you can see. Just a great thing of risen dough. And we're going to add into this, let me clean my fingers off. I needed to deflate it so that I could add other products into it. So let's rinse my hands. And now we are going to add in about 2.5 cups more of flour. Just like that. And I'm going to bring over my KitchenAid mixer. But here is my KitchenAid mixer. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and put this onto my bowl, onto my mixer. Like that. And I want to attach my dough hook. And this is what your dough hook looks like. So we are going to put this on like that, and I'm gonna raise my bowl up, and I'm gonna turn it on 1, and I'm just gonna let that flour stir in. And that was 1 cup. We need to put 2.5 cups in there, so I'm gonna come in with another cup, and then about 1/2 cup, and I'm just eyeballing it. Then I'm going to add my melted butter. This is 3.5 tablespoons of melted butter. Pour that in. And we're going to add 1 tablespoon of kosher salt. And if you don't have kosher salt, you can use regular table salt. But the kosher salt is so good for baking. I love it in my baked goods. And we're going to add, remember we needed another 1/2 cup of honey. I don't have 1/2 cup, so I'm going to use 1/3 cup of granulated sugar. And you can use honey or sugar in this. You can use butter or olive oil, whichever you prefer. And I'm going to turn this on 2 and let it, hopefully see it pull away from the bowl and make a nice elasticy piece of dough. So I'm going to stop the video, and when we come back, I will have my ball of dough completely done. And I have more flour here, and I'm going to add it by tablespoonfuls. There's my flour. And if it doesn't pull away from the bowl, it looks too wet, I'm going to add a tablespoon at a time. And that is looking wet, so I'm going to go ahead and add in another tablespoon. And I'll continue to do this until it comes together and pulls completely away from the bowl. And when we come back, I'll show you what that looks like. We'll be right back. Okay, now you can see that this is pulling away from the bowl. It's walking up the hook, and we're going to let this knead now for about 5 to 8 minutes, and then we'll be back. Okay, everyone, we are back and we have gotten our dough kneaded. So I'm going to take my dough hook out by lowering my bowl. I'm pulling the dough off of the hook, and then I will slide the hook off. And let's put this over in the sink. And we're going to take our bowl off of our mixer. And we have this beautiful, beautiful dough. Okay, let me readjust the camera. Okay, and hopefully you can see the counter. I think you can. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to dump this ball of dough out of my mixing bowl and onto a floured surface. It's still a very sticky dough, so we are going to work it just a little bit more. Sometimes it's not as sticky. It depends on the humidity, the temperature in your house. So many things plays in to making yeast bread. So I'm going to grab just a sprinkle of flour and put this over it, just so it's not quite as sticky. And this is a nice piece of dough. I can tell by the way it feels. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of kneading. And kneading is you fold and press away from you. Turn, you fold and press away from you. Turn, fold and press away from you. Turn, fold and push away. So I'm going to do this just a few times to bring my dough together. And once I get it into a nice shaped ball of dough where it's smooth and elasticy, then we are going to put it in a greased bowl and we're going to let it rise for about, I would say maybe about an hour. That is looking gorgeous. Look at that. Nice and springy. See, when I mash into it, it springs right back. That's what you're looking for. So I don't know whether I want to wash this bowl and use it again or if I want to get a clean one. I think I'll just wash this one. So I'm going to wash my bowl and we'll be right back. All right, I'm back and I cleaned my bowl. So we got a nice clean bowl. And by washing this bowl and rinsing it in hot water, it's warm. So it's a perfect environment for my dough to rise in. So what I want to do is I'm going to take some regular vegetable oil and I'm just going to put it all inside my bowl. And I'm going to take my hand and just kind of make sure I go up the sides. The reason you want to do this is your dough will need to climb the bowl. And if the bowl has dry spots on it where it's not been greased, the dough can't climb the sides as well. So I usually do this and I'll put a little bit of oil on top of my dough and just do that. And then I'll just tuck everything under and sit it right down in the bowl like this. Now I like to rise my dough in the microwave. So if it's cold in your house, take a cup of water and put it in there and let it come to a boil, and then take it out and stick your dough in. So I'm just going to go ahead and put mine up here because it's not cold in my house. I'm very cold natured, so I have my heat on 73. So once this gets risen, I will come back. Let me get the oil off my hand so I can tilt y'all back up. There we go. Oh goodness, I tell you, I've had more time playing with the camera than I do anything else. But anyway, we'll come back once this dough gets fully risen, and I'm going to time it for about an hour. It probably will only take about 30 minutes. So I'm going to set my timer for 30 minutes. I've got my timer set on my oven, so as soon as that goes off, we'll come back. We're going to divide that dough into loaves, and I'll put it in my loaf pans, and it will rise again. So this particular recipe does have a 3-rise system. Most yeast doughs are 1 rise, but that first rise of that 20 to 25 minutes to let build the sponge is so crucial to the rest of your dough making. So That works out beautifully every time. And I had tried recording earlier an intro, and I wanted to show you, this is the flour that I use for all of my yeast baking, and it is King Arthur's bread flour, and this is available, I believe, just about everywhere. It is absolutely the best flour for making homemade bread. So I know Walmart carries it in my area. I'm pretty sure if Walmart carries it in one area, it is a nation brand, so it's not like it's, you know, priority. But this bread recipe is going to be delicious. I can't wait till y'all see it, and I wish you could smell my kitchen. It smells like fresh bread baking, and I haven't even started baking it yet. So we'll be back, and then we'll divide that dough up, and I'll show you how to prep your pans and how to set it for your rods and everything. So we'll be right back. Okay, we're back, and our dough has completely finished rising. So I'm going to take it out, and I will turn y'all down so you can see exactly how pretty this is and how much it rose. So let's drop you about to there. And look how beautiful that dough is. Turned out so pretty. So we're going to punch it down, and I'm going to show you how you need to press the air out of it before you put it in loaf pans. And I have 2 loaf pans here. Oops, sorry. One. You know what? I didn't put my mic on, so you're probably not even hearing me. So let me get my microphone back on. All right, that should be better. I have 2 pans here. One is a cast iron, and I love to bake in cast iron when I have it. I only have the one, though, so I do bake in an aluminum pan like this as well. And this will easily make 2 loaves, and maybe even 3. I might even pull out the 3rd pan. This bread is really good, and you can actually freeze it if you make more than you need. So I'm going to spread a little bit of flour here on my board or on my work surface, and I am going to come in. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to press that down just like that with both hands, and it deflates it, and then we're going to turn it out onto our floured surface. Now what we want to do is press it out. You're going to fold it and press it, making sure that you're getting all of the air out of the dough. Because if you've ever bought bread and it has holes in it, that's where the air did not completely get pushed out of the dough before it was put in the pan. And those air bubbles will make holes in your bread. So I'm going to just knead this a little bit more and press it out. And you can easily see by the shape of that, we can easily get 3 loaves out of it. So I'm going to go ahead and grab another pan. You can also use parchment paper if you wanted to and line your pans, but you would still need to put some oil on them. So I think this one I may use a parchment paper on it just to see how the bread turns out. So we'll try it and see. So I'm just going to grab a sheet of parchment. Let's see if this will fit in here. And it will, if it's perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold it in over the edges like that. That'll make it real easy because then we can lift our bread right out. Looks like it needs to be cut down on one side, maybe about 1/4 inch. So I can do that. I'll take some kitchen shears and just come in and cut about 1/2 to 1/4 inch off of one side, and then that fits perfect. All right, so I got my pan again, my cooking spray, and I'm going to spray the inside of both of these all 3 of these pans. The reason I did this, it's supposed to make 2 loaves, but the last time I made it, my loaves were huge, and they made the slices of bread way too big. So I thought, why not cut this where we can have 3 separate loaves. So there's one. That one looks smaller than the other ones. So I think I'll take the small one and I'm going to put it in the smaller pan, which is the cast iron. So let's roll it like that. And you want it to be shaped kind of in a log shape so that it goes into the loaf pan. I'm just going to press it in, and as it rises, it will fill that pan. So don't think that it won't. Now see how that's got air bubbles in it? So we're going to press those out. Let's move that piece over here, and then I'm going to fold that. Let's fold it this way. Fold it over, and then fold this back. And keep pressing it. Then you want to take your sides and turn them under like that. And that gives you another pretty loaf. And I didn't spray the one I put parchment paper in. So let's spray that really good. And let's drop this one in here. Just like that. And now we have our last pan. And I'm going to set that over there, and I'm going to press this out. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make sure I get all of those air bubbles out as best you can. Now, there's times that the air bubbles, you won't get them all out, and you might have a hole in your bread. It does happen. Even with the best and finest bakeries, there's sometimes holes in the bread. So don't fret about it. But this process here of pressing it flat and then rolling it under does help get rid of those air bubbles. All right, that looks pretty. So we are going to lay this one in this pan, and I'm going to sit all 3 of these loaves back in my microwave, and they need to rise for about 30 minutes more. And I'm going to go ahead and preheat my oven to 400. And when we get ready to bake these, once they rise completely and fill up our pan, we will bake them we'll turn the oven back to 350 when we put them in, and then they will bake at 350 for about 35 to 40 minutes. So there's all 3 of our loaves of bread, and we'll come back when I get ready to put them in the oven. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back, and as you can see, the bread has risen, just like I said, and now I'm ready to go ahead and put these in the oven. So I've preheated my oven to 400 degrees, and I'm going to cut it back to 350. And then I'm going to put these in on the top rack, 3 across. So there's one. I'm going to put the cast iron one in the middle. And then the other one on the other side. And when these come out of the oven, it'll take about 35 minutes for these to bake. We will come back. I'm going to set my timer. Okay, I have my timer set for 35 minutes, and when we come back, we will take them out of the oven, and I'll have a cooling rack here, and we'll show you what they look like. We'll be right back. Okay, the oven just beeped, so I am going to pull out my bread. There's one loaf, and I'm putting it up onto a cooling rack so you can see it. There's the one in the cast iron. I'm going to let them cool here for maybe about 10 or 15 minutes before I take them out of the pan. And then once they come out of the pan, they have to cool completely before you can slice into them. That is the hardest part of the bread, is waiting for it to cool, because it smells so good. And what you want to do is you so want to get into it, but listen. That holler sound is what you want to hear when you tap on it. You also want to make sure that your bottom is good and brown. So I'm going to check the bottom of this one. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and take them out. They look really pretty and brown. So I'm going to go ahead and take them out of the pan. This one should be easy because all we have to do with this one is lift it. So I'm going to sit it on the pot holder. And then I'm going to use the parchment paper to lift it out and just sit it right there. And let's set the pan over here and pull the paper out. That worked really good. I like the idea of using the parchment paper. And now we're going to take the one out of the cast iron. Now this one probably browned the best because cast iron cooks so well. Oh, and it did. Look at that. And we'll turn that one back over. And now what we're going to do is let these cool, and I'll come back later on before we cut them, and I'll show you what it looks like on the inside. We'll be back. All right, we are back, and as you can see, our bread is nice and cold. So I'm going to move it over here, and I'm going to bring over one loaf and sit it right here. And I am going to take my knife, and I'm using a serrated knife so that we can get a good even cut. And when you cut through, you are going to have a beautiful, soft, very springy piece of bread. Now, my husband likes the end piece, so I'm going to save that one for him. I'm going to cut one piece off, and I want to put a little butter on it. And we're going to take a taste test. Let me grab some butter. This was the other part of the stick that I used to put in the bread. And it's been laying out so it's nice and soft. So I'm just going to put a little butter right there on the corner. And let me move y'all up. And look how luscious that looks. It's so good. It's soft and it's tender. Beautiful for a sandwich. It's really nice texture. I hope you'll try this recipe. It's not hard to make, and your house will smell so good. And follow the recipe. I'll make sure that the recipe is on the blog. Give me, I'll try to get it on by the time the video is posted, but if not, it'll go up shortly thereafter. Thanks again so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching me make loaf bread. And that recipe made 3 loaves. And like I said, you can freeze a couple. Or if you have a large family, this will be perfect. Because if you got kids, they're going to love this. So, thanks again for tuning in. God bless and keep you. And as I always say in closing, let everything that you do and say bring honor and glory to our Savior Jesus. He is worthy. So until we cook or craft again, take care, be kind to one another, and love you guys. Bye-bye.